Yeah. That's how you feel. What's up, Doc? Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna wait for probably another minute or so, and then we're gonna pop on. We're gonna start talking about this. Science. All right. I want to hear this little. Right on, y'all. All right, now I'm going to be a little serious, a little more serious. Happy 4th of July. As we spoke about, I spoke about a few days ago. I told you about the one thing we're going to be doing is every time I talk with you guys, it's going to be about advancement. We're going to advance towards excellence. Excellence is going to be is defined as love, family, community. Now let's just build, man. All right. So y'all ready for this, man? All right. So as we first initially spoke about the Tavistock Institute, the name of it's the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations. So I'm going to go back just a little bit over again. So the Tavistock Institute is an independent not-for-profit organization which seeks to combine research in the social sciences with professional practice. Problems of institution building and organizational design and change are being tackled in all sectors: government, industry and commerce, health and welfare, education, etc., nationally and internationally. And clients range from multinationals to small community groups. A growth area has been in the use of a developmental approach to evaluation of new and experimental programs, particularly in health, education, and community development. This also has produced new training events alongside the regular program of group relations conferences. The Institute owns and now edits a monthly journal called Human Relations, published by the Plenum Press, which is now in its 48th year, and has recently launched, in conjunction with Sage Publications, a new journal, Evaluation. Now, we're going to go through this. I've been putting this stuff together, boy. Woo! So, 3 elements combine to make the institute unusual, if not unique. It has the independence of being entirely self-financing, with absolutely zero subsidies from government or other sources. The action research orientation places it in between, but not in, the worlds of academia and consultancy, and its range of disciplines include anthropology, economics, organizational behavior, political science, psychoanalysis, psychology, and sociology. Now that's probably the part you guys weren't aware of. I know when I hear something that says the Institute for Human Relations, then I start to think, okay, wait a minute. All right, so what kind of human relations are they talking about? So, actually, we have a lot of the American foundations. We have the Heartland Foundation. We have the Heartland Foundation, the Trilateral Commission, and these are all legitimate. These are really organizations that exist. The Stanford Research Institute, the Institute of Social Research at the National Training Lab. So, also you're familiar with the Wharton School of Finance. So these are all really legitimate organizations that the Tavistock Institute actually runs things at. Okay. Now, Now, the ideology of the American Foundation were created by the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations in London in 1921. The Duke of Bedford, Marquess of Tavistock, the 11th Duke, gave a building to the Institute to study the effect of shell shock on British soldiers who survived World War I. Its purpose was to establish the breaking point of men under stress. Under the direction of the British Army Bureau of Psychological Warfare, commanded by Sir John Rawlings Rees. Now, if you recall, the Wikipedia definition, actually when I went to Wikipedia on you guys, and I read it, and I'm going to go back again. Let's see. I'm going to go back to Wikipedia. You have to forgive me. So what I'm saying you is not a, you guys know I'm not just pulling this out of my earths. So I know I don't like to use Wikipedia as a source, but in this case, yeah, we're going to use it as a source because we initially began with it as a source. So now what they say is in Wikipedia, it says the history of the Tavistock. It was founded in 1946. So actually what happened in 1946 is when John Rawlings separated. He was actually a proponent to separate the Tavistock Clinic, and the Tavistock Clinic now became the Tavistock Institute. So to let you know up front, that's who John Rawlings Rees was. John Rawlings Rees was the, again, I'm going to go back, he was the director of the British Army Bureau of Psychological Warfare. His name was Sir John Rawlings Rees. Now, Tavistock Institute is headquartered in London. Its foundation of psychoanalysis was given by Sigmund Freud. When he moved to England, he was given a mansion by Princess Bonaparte. Tavistock's pioneer work in behavioral science, along with the Freudian lines of controlling humans, established it as a world center of foundation ideology. Its network now extends from the University of Sussex to the U.S. through the Stanford Research Institute, the Hudson Institute, the Heritage Foundation, the Center of Strategic and Intelligence International Studies at Georgetown University, where State Department personnel are trained, the U.S. Air Force Intelligence, and the RAND and MITRE corporations. The personnel of the corporations are required to undergo indoctrination at one or more of these Tavistock-controlled institutions. Now, they actually don't call it doctrination when they go there. They actually call it training. So a lot of you guys may have heard of something called Total Quality Management, or TQM. Let me go ahead and go over a brief definition of TQM. You learn that all MBA programs actually learn that. Now TQM was actually founded by it was one of the ways that Tavistock Institute, one of their programs, they found it. Now, a core definition of total quality management describes a management approach to long-term success through customer satisfaction. In a TQM effort, all members of an organization participate in improving processes, products, services, and the culture in which they work. Okay? Let's see. A lot of you guys may have heard of Six Sigma. Okay, Six Sigma. Let me see. Okay, they also call it statistical quality control. They said it was invented by Walter Shewhart. Again, he worked at Stanford University. So we're going to go back to where we're at. Okay. So let me see. The Heritage Foundation, the personal. Okay. Now, what I'm going to go to, I'm going to skip down to, because we know that the Tavistock Institute was initially founded after World War I to, to determine how well the British soldiers or how well men were able to respond to shell shock. So again, after that, we had World War II that happened. 1946, Tavistock Institute was then split off, and Tavistock Clinic was created. Okay, now after that, the Tavistock Institute developed brainwashing techniques, which were first used as an experiment on American prisoners of war in Korea. Its experiments in crowd control methods have been widely used in the American public. Serendipity, excuse me on that one. Surreptitious to, but nevertheless, outrageous assault on human freedom. So, we're not going to really go into how they assault human freedom, but we are going to talk about Kurt Lewin. Kurt Lewin, he became the Tavistock director in 1932. He came to the U.S. in 1933 and set up the Harvard Psychology Clinic, which originated, actually worked with Edward Bernays with propaganda to turn the American public against Germany. Involved us in World War II. Okay. Let's see. So now we're going to go to psychotherapy. Okay, the Tavistock Institute originated the mass civilian bombing raids carried out by Roosevelt and Churchill as a clinical experiment, again, in shell shock and crowd control. They wanted to actually create some sort of controlled laboratory condition. Now, all Tavistock American Foundation techniques have a single goal, and that's to understand the psychological strength of the individual and render the individual helpless to oppose not dictators, but to oppose any sort of singular control. Okay, so it's with the Tavistock Institute. That actually is where you see the police coming from with their shields. That's where you see the police coming with you see the tear gas, you see the entire news. So you got it. All right, so another prominent Tavistock operation is the Wharton School of Finance at the University of Pennsylvania. Now, a single common denominator identifies a common Tavistock strategy, the use of drugs. They actually help finance the MK Ultra program of the CIA, and that is a true program, which is unsuspecting. That's when CIA, everyone knows about where LSD was created, etc. Now, what's so particular about the Wharton School of Finance? We have a few people right now that are in control of our nation that actually are graduates of the Wharton School of Finance. One of them is President Donald Trump. He is this is not a conspiracy, you guys. This is all fact. So, I guess a conspiracy is when you have more than one person that is conspiring to accomplish a particular goal. So that is the Tavistock Institute. That is actually what conspiracy is. Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to skip forward. Now we're going to talk about Tavistock-funded institutions in the United States of America. Flow laboratories. They get the contracts from the National Institute of Health, the Merle Thomas Corporation. They get their contracts from the U.S. Navy. They analyze data from all the satellites. The Walden Research. They do research. They do research in the field of pollution control. Planning Research Corporation, also known as Operations Research Inc. They're part of approximately 350 firms which conduct research and conduct surveys, make recommendations to government. They're what President Eisenhower called a possible danger to public policy. He actually quoted this. This is a quote from the president. The Brookings Institution, and we all are familiar with the Brookings Institution. They helped write President Hoover's program. They also helped create the New Deal. They created help in forming the New Frontiers program. And let me see, the Great Society, which came in the Voting Rights and Civil Rights Act of 1964. Let's see. So that's who the Brookings Institute is. So, and the Hudson Institute. Again, Hudson Institute actually is here in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is a bit scary because something else that happens here in Indianapolis, Indiana is we are a test market. We have a number of market research facilities here. We also are a test market, and all this stuff is documented on my site at darrenmarion.com. We also have We also are we're one of the test markets for new restaurants, etc. So if you're in Indianapolis, you may see that we have a lot of chain restaurants, particularly in areas like Fishers, Indiana, Avon, Indiana, etc. That's where there's a large population where people actually. And I got my pest control guy coming here now, so yeah. Did want you guys to know that is who the Tavistock Institute is. That is part 2 of this conversation. We will continue going down the rabbit hole. So happy 4th of July. Peace.